He wasn't ready for Anthony Joshua because Anthony Joshua was a different thing.
Yeah.
Like it's just he's got more one-shot knockout
It was
power.
bad game
he took
plan
it more
as well,
seriously
though.
too.
I know he likes to switch him, but again, like this is where the boxing is. If you don't have that kind of intellect in the boxing, that footwork and foot positioning is put your foot on one side, you're gonna get killed. You put your foot on the other side, you're safe. You can kind of manage the power and see the punches coming. But he kept switching stances, but just leaving himself in just the wrong positions.
Yeah, he wasn't ready.
Wasn't
for
ready.
A guy like Joshua.
Wasn't ready. There was a lot of hype off the Fury fight.
Also, Joshua got to watch him box in the Fury fight, see some patterns. Fury, I think, probably took him lightly.
Yes, I think so.
He's one of the greatest of all time. This guy's never had a boxing match. At the beginning of the fight, he's like, time to go to school. Like, oh, really?
Joe Rogan has finally reacted to Anthony Joshua's shocking new training footage ahead of the Jake Paul fight, and the entire combat sports world is buzzing. Whatever fans expected this matchup to look like, Joshua's preparation has completely flipped the script.
They're talking right now about doing Anthony Joshua, Jake Paul. Jake Paul apparently wants that fight. And he agreed to, I think it was 99% to 1, where Joshua gets 99% of the money and he gets 1%.
Well, my thoughts on it is that Jake Paul's had a lot of accusations over the years for a guy who's had no amateur fights. What's he had, about 10 or 12 fights, I'm not sure what he's had. And, you know, you look at the opposition he's had and people saying, when's he going to fight somebody? He stepped up. He's stepping up to a 2-time world champion, a genuine heavyweight, a proper heavyweight champion, and an active fighter. And this is a big moment for him. And you got to take your hat off to him for that. This fight, as regarding AJ, I'm sure AJ's wants a fight back after that, that unbelievable loss he had against Daniel Dubois. That's quite an emphatic loss. He wants to come back, get himself, dip his toe in the water. He's going to get paid a lot of money for this. This fight's going to generate a lot of money because for me, it's a fighter. Jake Paul's going to be a massive underdog against a big favourite, a big odds-on favourite. Can he do it or not? This is a car crash. And people will watch it because that's what people do at car crashes. That's what this is.
If you don't win this fight in 30 seconds, there's going to be two things thrown at him. One, you're no good. A lot of people are going to say, you can't fight Jake Paul. You're terrible. You're never any good. So forget he was 2-time heavyweight champion in the world. He was the fellow that struggled with Jake Paul. And God forbid he gets beat. Imagine if he got beat, or he gets dropped, or the rest of his career count pretty much for nothing in most people's eyes. And the second thing is, if he does take him rounds, if he does hold him up, if he does play the game and get a few rounds in, and it's a bit of an exhibition style thing, he'll never be taken serious by most paying public ever again. So I just think it's a no-win situation for Anthony Joshua, apart from the 50 million quid, of course, which is not too bad.
Yeah, I know like this.
Who you got in this fight?
I'll go G.
Oh God.
Who the fuck is he fighting? Jay's good.
I'm not betting on this fight.
Joshua's good.
This is not Anthony Joshua taking a payday. This is not Anthony Joshua walking into an easy night. This is a former heavyweight champion preparing as if the man across from him is a real threat. And that alone has shocked the internet. Joe Rogan pointed out something most fans missed. He said Joshua looks sharper, faster, and more focused than he has in years. The training footage shows him cutting angles, throwing heavy combinations, and tightening his defense in ways we haven't seen since his prime championship run. Joe said this is a version of Anthony Joshua who is preparing for chaos, preparing for unpredictability, and preparing for a man who doesn't fight like a traditional heavyweight, because Jake Paul, for all his flaws, brings something unusual to the table. His style is awkward. His timing is strange. His footwork is unpredictable.
He beat Wally. He beat him convincingly.
Yes.
And that's all he can do. And I think that he should take the praise from that and build from it. But he shouldn't want the criticism to stop, because I think it fuels him.
I'm one with you, and I said that to Joshua in one of the interviews that I'd done with him. I said to him, listen, I knew he was very angry with TalkSport and the criticism he was getting from TalkSport, etc. And I had that conversation and said, listen, Josh, you should be feeding off that. That's what good fighters do. You feed off that. Go and prove them wrong. Like, that's where your fuel should be coming from. And you know, I think to a certain extent he's sort of done that. I said, look, you're like, if people are talking about you, it's a good thing because that means that you know you're doing something right.
What would you do differently if you could do the Anthony Joshua fight again?
That's the problem. We did everything right.
Everything right in preparation.
In preparation, we did everything right. You know, like when I fought Sibe, I went back, I could make a whole list of what I did wrong, what I could have done better. But here, we were very disciplined. We did everything and everybody was professional. You can't say this person did this wrong, this should have been like this, it should have been like that.
What advice would you give to somebody like AJ?
That he has a lot of talent and not to get discouraged. He only loses when he quits. When you quit, all the doors of opportunities close. You know what I mean? You have to be game, and then don't get discouraged if you lose. Listen, you just lost. You may have got $30 million. You should give Usyk a kiss and say, "Can we do this again?" Don't let this internalize you. Oh, I can't fight now. This white boy kicked my ass. People are laughing at me. No, he kicked my ass for $50 million or $30 million. I hope he kicks my ass again. But this time it might not work out that way. I'm gonna kick his ass. I just think the more time you lay off, the worse you get. You have to fight to be the best. You have to do it more and more and more.
And when you step in with someone who is unorthodox and fearless, you cannot sleepwalk through camp. You have to sharpen yourself to a razor. You have to eliminate every weakness. And that is exactly what Anthony Joshua seems to be doing. From a stigma standpoint, the boxing world is still divided. Some believe Joshua is taking this fight for the massive payday. Others believe he's doing it because he feels Jake Paul has disrespected the sport and wants to put him in his place. But if you watch the footage closely, there's something deeper happening. Joshua is training like he knows this is a global event. He knows the world is watching. He knows one mistake could turn him into a meme forever. And there is no way Anthony Joshua is going to let a YouTuber catch him slipping. Joe Rogan also broke down the strategy behind this camp. If Jake Paul shows up with real cardio and real power, Joshua needs to be ready for the early wild exchanges. He needs to keep the jab pumping constantly. He needs to close the distance with authority and force Jake Paul to box while moving backward.
And number-wise, the biggest fight in boxing history. Ever. Viewed. The biggest viewed fight in boxing history ever. And there's been some great fights over time. That is insane, isn't it? And the highest paid fighters as well. What Jake Paul, they're an estimated £170 million split between these two. But Jake Paul, is he really that deluded that he thinks he's going to go in there and beat Anthony Joshua?
Do you think he thinks he can do it, Simon? I don't know. He's not short in confidence.
I don't know what he thinks, but what he does do is he markets himself in the space that he operates in. I don't get this Jake Paul or Logan Paul phenomenon, but I'm not the audience. It doesn't matter what I get. The opportunity for Netflix is that it's a drive to subscribe. They'll pay $100 million, and the wraparound fees that come from sponsorship and the event attendance. We saw that $20 million was generated in gate receipts for the Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul fight. So we know this is a $160 million fight. We know that it makes sense to Netflix to do it because in the last fight that they had with Mike Tyson and Jake Paul, they developed 2 million new subscribers. The average lifetime value of a subscriber is $900. So if you look at that and say they're going to generate $2 billion in potential increased revenues as a result of paying these fighters £100 million, you can see the metrics of it. They're also retaining their base. They're also moving content into a different space, which is sport. So it all makes sense. It's like the mobile phone industry that I knew very well used to sell phones for nothing so people could get the airtime. And the airtime was where the money is. The content delivery is where the subscribers go to, and then they pay their subscription. So we all understand the model. As far as the fight is concerned, oh no, don't be silly. I mean Anthony Joshua can go in his nightgown and beat Jake Paul. The issue is, does he hurt Jake Paul? How curated it is? I debated it with boxers, with Paul Smith and Duke McKenzie and Spencer about would Joshua go in there with a mindset, which is he knows he doesn't have to get out of second gear, so he doesn't have to do to Jake Paul what people fear he might do, which is knock him into the next life.
He goes to Jake Paul. The cojones this motherfucker has, from a Disney kid to YouTube to he can fight anyone and get views and make fucking money. This crazy wild boy sends out the bat signal, the British bat signal for Anthony motherfucking Joshua. You know how crazy that is? I will say this. I don't think any of Jake Paul's fights are fixed in any capacity. At all. Not even close. I don't get down that narrative. Again, I know online that's a fun narrative, all that shit. I will say this though. My spidey senses will go off if Anthony Joshua doesn't absolutely mop the floor with him. Now, kudos to Jake for taking this fight. My God, dude, you are a brave young man. You deserve every cent for that fight. My word, dude, there's so much respect. So much respect. He worked so hard at the craft. That's amazing. Kudos to you. Here's the reality. Anthony Joshua is a gold medalist in the Olympics. He's a multiple-time world champion. He's fought the best of the best. He's not really over the hill either. If Jake Paul was just another boxer with his resume and his experience, he's about a mid-blue belt. If we're giving you belts like jiu-jitsu, he's probably a blue belt, fighting in main events and all this stuff. If this fight isn't an absolute domination by Anthony Joshua, my spidey senses will go off. Now, that's not to say that I'm not saying Jake Paul has any language in the contract. There's no foul play whatsoever on Jake Paul's part. My skeptical hippo eyes or my spidey senses will come off that Anthony Joshua's not taking this real and he's not putting his best performance forward.
Which has always been his biggest weakness. And most importantly, Joshua needs to lean on his size, his experience, and his heavyweight IQ. Joe said if Joshua uses his fundamentals and refuses to play Jake Paul's game, this could turn into the most controlled beatdown of the year. But the interesting part is the other scenario. If Jake Paul comes in competitive and tries to make the fight scrappy, Anthony Joshua must be ready for a dogfight. He has to train for the clinch. He has to train for inside work. He has to train for awkward looping shots. That's why in the new footage, he's practicing short hooks, heavy body shots, and compact combinations designed specifically for close-range exchanges. Because he knows the one thing Jake Paul will try is to make this fight ugly and unpredictable. Anthony Joshua's training footage has made one thing clear. He is not underestimating Jake Paul. He is not taking this lightly. He is preparing like this is war. And Joe Rogan said it best. When a dangerous heavyweight gets serious, the world has a problem. This fight is no longer a circus. It is no longer a joke. It is now a showdown between a disciplined world champion and a fearless wild card who has everything to prove. And if both men walk into that ring believing they can win, this might be one of the most explosive fights of the entire year.